Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another live iThemes training event. My name is Nathan Ingram. I am the host here at iThemes Training, and I'm joined today by Geoff Belanger, who is a product owner at the Events Calendar. Geoff's been a WordPress consultant since 2008, and he believes that world peace comes from the ukulele. So let's talk about that. Geoff, how are you? Welcome to iThemes Training.
Well, thank you, Nathan. Yeah, I do believe that world peace comes from ukulele. So anyone out there might check out my work on the topic coming to a ukulele near you. So, but let's get back to the topic at hand today, which is seriously though, you can't get mad at a ukulele, and I do think everybody should get one, but more on that later. Yeah. So let's get back to Event Automator, and today's webinar is about connecting your apps and automating your workflows with Event Automator. What's great about that, I know we have a great variety of people that are watching this webinar. So whether you're just starting out, or you're more of integrator, or you're full-fledged dev, what's great is in this case, Zapier makes it super easy to connect things. And so it could mean great things for both your business and for your client's business, or, depending on your situation. So we'll walk through that. I'm just gonna give you a sense of what this great add-on does, give you examples. At any point, if you have questions, hit the chat. And when we're done with the presentation and the demos, of course, we'll take more questions. And if you think of a question after the presentation, that's cool too. Just reach out to our support, and they'll find me and make sure you get the answers you want. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, let me jump in with a couple of housekeeping notes, and we'll turn things over to Geoff. Again, this is all live demo today. There are no slides to share. So we're going to watch Geoff walk through some of the steps of automations and how it works. I'm going to drop in the chat again our link bundle for today, if that's going to work. There we go. So what you'll find there in the chat is, first of all, a great coupon code for 15% off any Event Automator plan. That's EVA-iThemes. It's not case sensitive. EVA-iThemes, 15% off. And of course, everything with Events Calendar has that 30-day refund policy, no questions asked. You'll also find there in the chat a replay link about an hour after we wrap up today. You can go back and rewatch this, anything you missed, or if you want to share this with someone else, that link will be available. It will contain the chat log. So any links or any interesting things that happen in the chat, you'll have access to that, as well as the transcript of today, which is happening right now as well. Also, if you've not yet heard of Event Automator, there's a link to learn more about it there in the chat and follow along. So please use the chat. This is live. You're welcome to carry on a conversation with each other. But if you want to ask questions, use the Q&A, please. There's a link on the Zoom toolbar. And I would just recommend you pop that Q&A open and have it open. And if anyone asks a question that you also have, just click the thumbs up icon under that question. And when we get to our time of Q&A at the end, we'll take those questions in the order of upvotes they receive. And so with that, Geoff, I'll turn it over to you. Let's take a look at Automator.
All right, let's do this. But before we do that, I'm going to answer Stephanie's question. I'm not in a guitar store. This is actually my office, but I do have a lot of guitars, so I can totally understand the question. So good question. So let's get started. Let's get started right away with this. I'm just going to move a couple of things out of the way. All right, let's talk about Event Automator and what it could mean to you and your customers. So first off, as you got a link in the chat about this, we basically the whole goal is, it says automate your marketing with Zapier, but you could automate whatever is relevant to your situation. And we're going to look in a moment at what that means. Again, as Nathan just emphasized, we do have a discount code in the chat, giving you 15% for the lovely folks that are watching this webinar. So what does Event Automator really do? I mean, you could read the product page. It's nicely designed. It could help you most likely save time. This is when you're hosting events or anything in that area. You're likely going to be using a bunch of apps, right? Some people use Google Sheets. Some people use, I don't know, a CRM like Zoho or whatever it is you're using. And sometimes you might be in a place where you're duplicating or doing some double entry of data, which takes time. So the main goal of Automator is to streamline that and make sure that if there's a way to not perform double entry, well, Automator will be there for you, or perhaps just save a, even if it saves you a minute per transaction, well, these add up, right, over time. So we'll take a look at exactly what that means in a second. So it could also help you streamline communication. For example, someone just bought a ticket to your event, and you'd like to send an automated text message to thank them for the purchase. I mean, that goes a long way. People like, oh, cool. This person is really mindful, or this organization is really mindful. Little do they know is because you have Automator, hooked in the background. But the intention is there for sure. So there's if you haven't done so already, I really encourage you to go check out our product page, which contains all the information I'm talking about. But I mean, if you have questions, of course, feel free to reach out. I'm just going to jump right in and show you what it does. So Event Automator is a big departure for us, because it connects our two flagship products, which are the events calendar, whether it's the free version or the pro version. And it also connects with our little less known product, but still very useful, is the event tickets product, which allows you, as the name suggests, to sell tickets or help people register. So we have a Zapier app for the events calendar, and we have a Zapier app for event tickets, which that might sound confusing, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually the most powerful way to do this. So we have two apps. This is also cool because there are some people out there that are using just event tickets without the events calendar. Maybe some of you are finding out that this is possible. So yes, believe it or not, event tickets could be used standalone. If for whatever reason you're still like to sell tickets, but you don't want a calendar to do so, it's totally cool with us. You could do both. So that's the first thing. So let's take a look at the events calendar. Of course, doesn't need a lot of presentation. If you're not familiar with it, download it now, check our demo, check our live preview. So what Zapier and Event Automator allows us to do is, Event Automator, what it does is it creates a connection point between the events calendar or event tickets and Zapier. As Nathan mentioned previously, right now we're focusing on Zapier, but we are also looking at adding more automation solutions to the roster. So just keep an ear to the ground. So let's take just a simple example of what you could do. So basically, automation is a simple process. Something happens, and when that little something that's defined happens, then you do something, an action. So it's a trigger when something happens, resulting in an action. Automatically do this. So this is the perfect example of something that's easy to understand to get started. So for example, when you create a new event in the events calendar, you might want to record it automatically to a Google spreadsheet row. So why would you want to do that? Well, maybe you just want to have some easily sortable archive of all the events you put together. So that's a fairly easy one to understand. So let's take a look at a couple of other things that this might mean for you or for your customers. So we have a bunch of them. I guess what's important here is these are just examples, and specifically what we're looking at right now is called a Zap template. So remember when I said in the beginning, you don't even need to know how to code to use this, which is great because then you could just put it in place without spending days and days. So for example, you could send an email via Outlook every time a new event is created. Perhaps this is an internal process in your business. Is like, okay, I just created an event. I want to make sure that Joe and maybe Sandy are aware that I just created an event. So there you go. I don't need to notify them. Done automatically. Could be the same thing with Slack messages. much cooler, more in the promotion realm of things, you might want to, as soon as you publish your event, you might want to publish this on your Facebook page to say, hey, everybody, there's this great event coming up. You could add it to Google Calendar. So the, the whole team is aware that, oh, shoot, there's this event coming up. And this one is probably one of my favorites. You could create coupons for new events calendar events. So what's the purpose of that? Well, let's say you're always, every time you're having an event, you also know you have a couple of groups of your customers that would love to receive a coupon code, or that you will send a coupon code to using MailChimp or whatever it is you're doing. Instead of creating the event, go into Commerce Coupons, creating a coupon. Instead of doing that, you could definitely just create your event, have this automation lurking in the background, and then as soon as you're done publishing the event, here goes a new coupon code, which saves you a couple of minutes. Again, it really adds up quickly. And so on and so forth. There's so many different possibilities here. So what you could do is you choose, let's say, the events calendar here, and you could just go through different options. If you want to connect it with something else, that's cool too. Take a Zap template. What is a Zap template? It's basically, we built those recipes in advance for you. You could 100% customize those to your liking. It's just like, to remove that initial friction point where like, oh my goodness, like how am I going to get through that? Well, instead of doing that, we created those starting recipes that could give you a good sense of what you need to look at. So that's for the events calendar. I don't know if Nathan, if you need to pitch in with questions, that's cool. Questions are welcome at any time, even though there's a dedicated section. Just gotta take a minute here to remind everyone that hasn't looked at the chat. We do have a discount code of 15% for people on this webinar. It's not case sensitive, so it's Event Automator, EVA dash iThemes, like so. So moving on to the next exciting part of this automation, and then I'll actually do a demo. So I'm just trying to get you a sense of the possibilities. So as I mentioned, you could do stuff that happens when you're creating new events. You could do stuff that when you're updating an event. So those are the triggers. But you could also do great things with tickets. And based on our initial feedback we've received, most people are really interested in that component. So let's take a look at what that could mean, for example. I talked about this a bit earlier. So let's take Twilio. For those that are not familiar with Twilio, Twilio could do stuff like send SMS messages. They could send messages via WhatsApp and whatnot. Of course, this requires you to have a Twilio account. But so let's say whenever there's a new attendee, meaning that when you buy a ticket, you want to send a thank you SMS, that's a possibility. It could be the same when they check in. So let's say there's special information for your event. Go to, I don't know, to table 10 to get your free t-shirt. So that's super cool because, or provide a map of the premise of where you're at, or some other promotional deal that you might have going on. So whenever people check in, then Zapier is listening in and understands that whenever people check in, you're going to send them a message containing whatever it is that you want. What's cool about that is also Twilio in this specific case could actually call the phone. So the possibilities, again, I'm not quite sure what your exact use case is, but what I'm sure about is if you find the correct combination between either the events calendar and the app you're already probably using, or that you're about to discover, because here's the kicker. Zapier offers connection to, I think, over 4,000 or 5,000 apps that are out there, most likely one you're already using. So it's definitely worth like coming up with crazy combination there. So let's take a look at some of those Zap templates here to just get another sense of what you could do with those. Okay, so let's say you're using other popular add-on, which is virtual events, and people are buying a ticket to attend your Zoom webinar, but you really would like that person to be automatically created as a registrant in that Zoom webinar. Well, here's your chance. Again, Zapier is listening in, and is going to check out the fact that you just created a Zoom webinar. Cool. Someone registers for your webinar. Okay, I am going to take that webinar registrant information, and I am, going to put it in Zoom. So automatically created. Same thing as before. You could also have an archive of all your orders, maybe for accounting purposes or whatnot. So the possibilities create a Salesforce lead when you have someone that orders a ticket. So here again, as you could tell, the possibilities are really, really, really cool. This one is one of my favorites, which is DocuSign. There's a couple more third-party apps like that. So let's say you want to have someone sign a document that, I don't know, perhaps they have their medical records are in order, or you want to have them sign some kind of waiver form before they attend the event. You could do that. So they buy a ticket. Okay, now you need to sign this waiver form. And one of my favorites that I just discovered prior to this webinar, there's a service out there that Zapier is connected to, which is called EZP. I'm not sure I'm getting the pronunciation correct, but it's basically an app that prints stuff. So it connects to your network printers or your desktop printer. So for example, let's say I'm at the front desk, I'm checking in someone that comes into my event. I could have automatically a pass or a badge printed out as soon as I'm checked in using event tickets, in this case, EZP. So check the possibilities out. If you have recipes that you're interested in, if you'd like to, you have questions about that, if you don't have them right now, or you're watching the replay, basically go to the events calendar and send a message to support. They'll find me, and I'll get back to you, or perhaps the support agent will be able to help you out. Like the more we know, the better we can help you make this even more awesome, because we're just getting started. So yes, so that's the, in a nutshell, this is what some of the possibilities are. Again, if you're just watching this, we do have a 15% discount code for the people here. It's EVA-iThemes. It's not case sensitive, and that will give you 15% on your upcoming license. All right, so I think that covers the intro. Let's get started. At any time, I think there are questions and answer. I'm seeing Christine has one. So you have to pay DocuSign subscription to use Signature. That's a great question. Yes, whenever you're connecting any app to Zapier, it assumes you have access to the other app. So DocuSign has different plans. I'll just be full disclosure. I have not checked every 4,000 or 5,000 of those apps to see which one require a premium plan. But worst case scenario, as Nathan mentioned previously, all the events calendar add-ons, premium add-ons, come with a full 30-day warranty, refund policy. So if that doesn't work out for you for some reason, no problem. But we definitely prefer to have it work out for you. So if it doesn't work out for you before you get the refund, please reach out, and we'll make it better for you. So that was a great question. Thank you so much for that question. Okay, so moving on to something else while we're here. So we have guides. We have a very short version of what I'm doing today in a short video here. But I just wanted to point out that, as with all of our add-ons, we usually have a knowledge base and guides going on. So Event Automator is no different. This will help you get started, hook up, connect either the events calendar or Zapier with your account. There's also, whenever you're automating things, I urge everyone to get more familiar with data privacy. This is an important topic. You want to get it right. So there are certain things you can and you can't do. Find out more. We'd hate for anyone to get into trouble. So yeah, it's worth that 2 minutes of your time to read about it, unless you already know about all of that stuff. So we have a new user primer that just walks you through the installation process. I'm going to show it to you in a second. We have one about creating zaps, how that works, and I'm just going to show you that. So let's just jump right in and give you a quick example of this. And stay tuned, because after that, I might talk to you about how this could mean more money, both for you and for your customers. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna go out of here. I jumped the gun a little here. Okay, cool. So once you have your Zapier account, so let's talk about this for a second. Zapier, to get started, is free. As you can tell, I chose the free plan to demonstrate this, and you could always upgrade to the plan. So the free plan, as you might suspect, is not quite as powerful as a paid plan. Now, in some cases, that might be sufficient for your needs. So how are the plans different, and how does that relate to our product? Well, the number one thing to say is, with a free plan, and unless you get like again an upgrade, the zaps are not fully real time. They're only every 15 minutes, meaning, let's say I create a new event, it will take up to 15 minutes before Zapier listens in and creates that, let's say, Google Sheets row, as I talked about earlier. If you get a paid plan, that could come down to 2 and sometimes even 1 minute. So there's always a little delay to keep in mind. That's the first difference. The second difference with the Zapier plans is the number of tasks. So every time Zapier does something, such as what I just described, it counts as a task. And the last thing is the number of zaps, so meaning the number of recipes. So I'm limited to 5 with the free plan. Still very useful. Maybe you're just under 100 tasks a month, so that will be, there you go. And you're not in a rush. If that's you, then just stay with the free plan. But the premium plan also adds more Zapier apps that lets you do more custom, complex automations, sometimes with multiple steps, with filtering, maybe with, you could transform the data. It's pretty cool. This is all, it's all thanks to Zapier's built-in premium apps. So to drive that plan, again, I'm not affiliated to a Zapier. I'm not getting any kickback from this, but yeah, make sure you have a plan that matches your need, and be mindful of how you create your automations too, as I'm going to do in a second. So that you don't empty out your number of tasks per month quickly, because you have an automation that's just too broad in its definition, or and even worse, an infinite loop that will get your tasks depleted pretty quickly. So let's create one. I'm just going to create here a new Zap, and just to show you how easy that is. So I'm going to use the events calendar and just type it. I have several versions, including, this is a world premiere. I'm going to show you something no one has seen just yet, which is the 1.2 version, which is coming out in the next couple of weeks. So I'm just going to, what is 1.2 feature? Right now, live, we just have new event as a trigger, but as you can tell, we have other triggers coming right up. So just going to choose new event because I talked about this. I click on to continue. Before I came on this webinar, I'll level with you. I connected my events calendar account to my Zapier account. By the way, Fun fact, you could connect several of your sites that way. So, I mean, I just have one that's called Busy Walrus here. So, okay, I selected that account. This is my WordPress website that has the events calendar. Just waiting a bit for Zapier to let me know it's connected. Yeah, it's connected. I click on continue. What you should always do at this point, you should always test your trigger. And okay, cool. So it's found an event here, but you could tell here something that says no new events. When that's the case, it might mean that you need to create a new one if you don't have one already, or if it's not been picked up. I'm just going to check. I'm going to load more to see if there's more coming in. No, there isn't. So I might have to create a new event, which is cool because I was prepared for this. the joys of life. So I'm just going to go in that that website, the Busy Walrus, and I'm going to create a new event in front of your very eyes, a new event. And I'm going to say this event is in a couple, some description talking about the joys of life again. Okay, let's say this event is happening on, March 14th. I'm just going to go ahead and publish it. Okay, cool. So that should allow me to get the connection going again. So let's go back here. And I'm going to refresh that screen. And again, Murphy's Law, hopefully it's picked it up. And okay, for some reason, again, this is the truth. It usually works. I tested it before. Somehow it doesn't work. I'll try it again if time allows at the end. But normally you should get another event popping in. No worries. I'm just going to show you what it says anyway. So you connect the Google Sheets again. I'm going to choose create a new spreadsheet row. And I'm going to say, I'm going to go to my account. I connected this ahead of time. This works. Cool. Okay, I need to choose in which drive I want to put this in. I'm going to choose a spreadsheet, which is, I think, Automator demo is the one. Here we go. I created one. You can even choose which worksheet that's going to go in. So, all right, that's okay. It's asking me for headers, which I don't have right now. And I'm going to test the action. And normally it should work. Wonderful. Okay, so it did create the spreadsheet. So provided this is set up properly and I go back and arrange the connection, I refresh it, we have tools for that, don't worry. When I publish the Zap, what's going to happen now is every time someone creates a new event on that calendar, it's just going to automatically create a spreadsheet row in Google Sheets. And there you have it. I'm done with this one. And what's cool about that, for those that are paying, I should have named my Zap, but it's the one I just did here. You could turn the Zap on and off to your liking, and that's all there is to it. And as I mentioned previously, if you want to go faster, you just could use one of our pre-made recipes just to expedite the process a little. And yeah, so that's mostly what there is to it. For those that are curious about, okay, is it possible to customize this and what type of information can be sent and shared between the apps? Well, I'm glad you asked. We have, remember, I talked to you about the fact that we have a guide. You should head over to the Customizing Your Zaps guide. And what this will do is it will give you a full-fledged list of all the fields available for events, venues, cost, all of that stuff. And to top it off, perhaps you're using some custom fields, which is super cool. In which case we have a little snippet. What the snippet does is you define which custom fields you want to send along to Zapier with our default events one. And there you go. That will be available for you to add to, let's say, Google Sheets or Twilio or whatever it is you want. We have the same thing for event tickets. What's cool about event tickets, I'm just gonna go quickly to show you here. I'm gonna pretend I'm creating a news app, and let's go with event tickets. There you go. Don't worry about the fact that it says beta. It's just, it's so new. We're super excited about that. The good folks at Zapier haven't got around to put the rubber stamp on it. It's about to be, so it works wonderfully. So no worries there. For event tickets, we have 3 triggers. We have anytime an attendee is created, meaning I buy a ticket or I RSVP to something, and next thing you know, it's going to, okay, this happens, all the data that's tied to that, a new attendee is available and be sent to Zapier to do, let's say, the DocuSign part or whatever it is, checking in and a new order. Again, more of those triggers are coming up, and what's going to happen after triggers, there are going to be actions, but this is for a bit later this year, meaning you could do it the other way around. Maybe you do something in Google Sheet and you want your event tickets to be updated, that will be possible, but not at the moment. For now, it's only whatever happens in either the events calendar or event tickets can be sent elsewhere. So those are pretty cool. As I mentioned, hopefully this will work this time. Or is it another Murphy's Law situation? Let's find out. Okay. I'm just going to show you quickly what it looks like when it does connect, if it does. And drum roll. Yes. Oh, no, it didn't find the attendee again. Yeah, there's something that happened since the testing I did before before this demo, and now I'll figure it out. But it's the same type of deal. Again, you could choose whatever information you have and map it to, as is clearly explained in this bad boy here. So that's the mainly the gist of it. Again, we do have a 15% discount code available, and I'm gonna take a couple of questions. I am gonna head over here. Maybe Nathan, you could guide me. I know you've been paying close attention to the questions, and I'm gonna stop sharing.
Yeah, sure. So folks, if you have questions you haven't asked yet, use the Q&A there in Zoom to drop it in. So many possibilities with connecting Zapier and the events calendar. And I'm just thinking, one of the things Geoff and I were talking about before we started the webinar today is that, especially for those of you that work with clients, this is a great opportunity to add a service. If you have a little bit of understanding of Zapier, how cool would it be to incorporate, maybe you have a client that's already using events calendar and they're doing ticketing or, something else, just to come in with a service that says, hey, I'll help you build some automation here to save time on the back end that your staff, for example, is having to put in to do all the things that are associated with the event. Geoff, what do you think about that?
I think that you're absolutely right, Nathan. Beyond all the cool things that Zapier is able to do, there's definitely, basically, you can see this as a new vertical, depending if you're, if you're a consultant, or maybe you're an integrator, or as I said, a full-fledged dev. What that means is you could walk up to your customer or your client and say, hey, would you like to perhaps turbocharge your event promotion and make that, because you don't want necessarily to hire more people. So you could say to that client, hey, how about let's look at a couple of your workflows. And for example, promotion, how do you do it right now? And say, okay, for $1,000 or whatever you seem fit, maybe more, maybe less. You could just say, okay, let me install this for you. Let me create the automation recipes. And here's a proposal. And of course, what's cool about that is it's once the client gets a taste of how much time it saves them, they're going to figure pretty quickly that this is paying for itself, right? Not only are they saving time, but they're making way more money, either because people are excited about how fantastic they were treated, or because they're just reaching out more people via some promotion-related event automation. And so you can start with one, and once they get a taste for it, they might go back and say, Hey, that was awesome. Let's look at some of the other workflows I have to see if there's not a chance to streamline things there. So this could be a very, very interesting revenue generator, and that has like some of that repeat business quality to it. So definitely, I'm super excited about the possibilities there.
Yeah, for sure. And I know at least the folks that are normally part of our iThemes training audience, many of them I know are using the events calendar with, for example, working with a lot of nonprofit clients. And one of the things that's true about nonprofit clients is they generally don't have a large staff with lots of extra time on their hands, and event management just takes time. So what a great service to come in and actually meet a need for a nonprofit to say, look, we can do some work on the front end that'll cost some money, but on the back end, it's going to pay off over time of saving your staff money or saving your staff time and freeing up a lot of those staff members that are already overtasked from doing some of these really simple tasks, just repetitive tasks. I think it's a great service that if you learn how to use this, it could be, a great service to offer to clients, not only as a one-time setup, but even as like a recurring element to watch over the automation, make sure it stays working. So it can even be an increase to your monthly care plan that you're offering your clients. So yeah, I think it's an interesting way to make some more money. Great question has come in here from Shannon in the Q&A. And by the way, if you have a question to ask, just pop open that Q&A link in Zoom and ask your question and we'll get right to it. Shannon would like to know if you could send the attendee list to Podio, which is a CRM. Do you know if that's possible? And I know Podio does integrate with Zapier, but what details could we send over to Podio from the events calendar?
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you, Shannon. And I'm going to take this opportunity to maybe help people find out if what I want to do is possible. So when obviously I'm logged into the Zapier website here, but whether you're logged in or not, there's always this nice little magnifying glass there, which is international symbol for searching. So let's try Podio or whatever app you have. So we can see there is one here. And what's cool about that, so it shows you, of course, you could pick, in this case, the events calendar. So I'm not so sure, Shannon, exactly the attendee list. So it's going to be paired with event tickets. So let's do it the other way around. Let me backtrack a little. Event tickets, and I'm going to use Podio. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Okay, so it's going to give you a sense of this, but overall, my point stays true, which is if you want to find out about a specific app, go on that app's page, if it exists, of course, and then scroll all the way down. It's going to give you a sense of popular recipes, but where you're interested in is probably here. At the bottom of each app, you'll find what are the triggers for that app, what are the actions, if any. And so in this case, it's to send the attendee list to Podio, which there's CRM. So what needs to happen is we're going to use when someone creates an attendee. So basically, when someone purchases a ticket, you're going to create a new item. It seems like perfectly what your use case is. I'm just going to scroll down, or a task, or can update an item. So yeah, so you could send specific fields from that attendee or the whole thing in your item. Zapier will give you step by step. So the answer to your question, Shannon, is absolutely you could do it. Maybe if your client prefers to have the same for people that check in, that's also a possibility. So yes, good news is we can meet your client's needs, and it takes a bit of setup, but then your clients obviously will feel better. I mean, they're probably feeling fantastic about you already, but you'll be like the best person they know of. So this is, again, a great chance to upsell and create more sales this way. So glad we could help Shannon and this client.
Yeah, for sure. And, the thing about Zapier, as you're working with Zapier, and I've done a lot of work with Zapier. I've got a lot of automations running in the various parts of my business, and nothing ever works the first time. It's just Zapier is something that's trial and error, and you're going to play with it. It just takes some time. So as you're, it's going to take some experimentation. So, you try this and you tweak this, and eventually almost always you'll find a way to make it connect. But it'll take some trial and error. And once you get it all proved out, it usually just continues to work. So it's a beautiful thing once it's all set up correctly. Here's another question from Doug. Doug would like to know, or he says, events tickets currently doesn't send registration notifications to the people that I'd like it to. So could this fix that? Can we have a new registration be sent to, say, 5 email accounts and add it to a Google Sheet?
Yes, you can do that. I'm guessing from Doug's question that this is about sending notifications to probably someone in-house, or I'm guessing this is an internal process, basically. This is good to know. Great question, Doug. Zapier is fantastic for automating transactional stuff, like meaning customer facing, but it also is great as a reminder for your internal processes. Maybe you have like people like, it seems like this is the case for Doug. Every time there's a registration, something needs to happen on the team. So you want this to be as instant as possible, in which case you should get a premium Zapier account to avoid that 15 minutes lag. But yes, you could definitely have 5 people, that you decide that get that email or that Slack notification, whatever it is that works best for you. And you could either create a second Zap, which is separate, that would also add it in your Google Sheets. So it's probably cleaner to have one Zap for the notification and one Zap for the Google Sheet. If you don't like that notion, then what you need to do is get a premium Zapier account that lets you have multi-step Zaps. So it's one Zap, but it will notify these folks and then create that thing and maybe a third thing or whatever works for you. So yes, Doug, you could absolutely do that and control how it is sent. Quick note on this: if you weren't sending it to an internal team, but you'd like to do information, something with the information provided with attendees that are not necessarily the same as the ticket purchaser, this is a fine distinction, but it's an important one. So technically, okay, let's say I decide to go to the next Taylor Swift concert and I want to invite Nathan. So Nathan, you didn't know this, but you're getting invited.
I'm excited now. Yeah.
So I go online, purchase a ticket for myself and a ticket for Nathan. So technically, Nathan did not purchase the ticket. He's very excited, as he just mentioned. So both of these attendees are going to be sent out to Zapier. So what's important to know is it's totally cool to send communication to Nathan about this specific event. But what's not cool is taking that data and then just adding Nathan blindly to your promotion list because Nathan did not opt in for more communication. So just be mindful. We have an article I just pointed out before about this, which is located here, handling data privacy. So just make sure you don't get into trouble. Be mindful of the privacy laws. They're there for a reason. So that was my editorial speech. But back to Doug. Doug, it sounds like this is going to be right up your alley. And as we mentioned previously, if you're not sure, use our discount code, get 15% off. You get a 30-day trial. If it doesn't work out for you, well, first reach out to our support team. And if that really doesn't work out, then you could get a refund, of course. But I'm pretty confident you will be excited more than anything else. So good question.
Sure.
Thank you.
It really is a good question. And that the feature in Zapier that lets you do that, the Zapier email action, is super powerful. And so anything that, when that trigger comes in from Automator, you can just send it to Zapier email and there it goes. It's really powerful. All right, folks, I'm not seeing any additional questions come in. If you have a question you'd like to ask, I'll pause just for a second here, but otherwise we'll start to wrap up. I'm really excited myself, Geoff, just about for some of the client work that we're doing. This could have some powerful applications because we have folks using Events Calendar that I think could benefit from taking registrations and doing something else with them.
Absolutely. And for those that are using another automation solution, as we mentioned previously in the beginning, we are looking at adding other solutions to the pipeline. So keep an eye on, basically subscribe to the Events Calendar newsletter is probably the safest way to make sure you're not missing out, because the fear of missing out is a real thing.
It is indeed. All right, I think we're at the end of our questions today. It's been great information, Geoff. Thanks for walking us through all these features. A lot of powerful tools, whether you are an end user of the events calendar for your own business or organization, or whether you're doing client support and client work and finding this tool. It's really an opportunity to add an additional service to what you're offering. So any final thoughts as we're wrapping up here, Geoff?
No, thank you for all those great questions. Thank you, Nathan, as well. I'm glad to see Doug pitched in and said this will save time. Maybe this is an educational thing. Maybe you want to save some more time to play more ukulele like me. And again, this is a great way to position yourself as part of the solution on a level that's more than just mending their site, which is also very important. But when you can help someone, some of your clients, grow their business, get more sales, reduce costs, especially this day and age, like you'll be a very popular person, and who knows, you might get more referrals out of this. So get Event Automator, and so that's it. So no other final thoughts. If you have ukulele questions, also reach out to me. I'm always happy to answer them. And Sue said, special thanks for nonprofits. Yes, for those out there that are interested, we have a page on the events calendar for nonprofits, and we can help some of those folks out to make sure their cause could be supported. So check the see in store for more details.
So I'm dropping the link for that in the chat now. It's theeventscalendar.com/nonprofit-program. So if you have nonprofits using the events calendar, there is special pricing for them, which is indeed awesome. Geoff, thanks, man. Great information. Really appreciate your expertise today. Folks, just a few notes as we're wrapping up. The replay will be available in about an hour. I'm going to drop all those links in one more time to the chat. If you want to go back and rewatch this or share it with someone else, give us about an hour or so. And our Zap will take this video out of Zoom and put it up there and make all the things happen so that it's automatically appears. Once again, that coupon code is EVA-iThemes. It's not case sensitive, so type that in however you want. EVA-iThemes for 15% off the Events Automator at whatever level you decide to purchase. So thank all of you for being with us as well. There's no webinar here tomorrow, but I'm back Thursday for members for office hours here on iThemes Training, where we go further together.
Bye, folks.